everybody. Bonjour tout le monde. Je m'appelle Michael. Je suis votre deuxième host. I'm your second host today in the ACB Vlogger series. This is our second episode, and today we are here with Wadna.
Hello.
Wadna, do you mind introducing yourself to everybody?
Of course not. Hey everybody, my name is Wadna. Some people like to say Wanda, but trust me, the name is Wadna. I have a background in accounting, and I am currently working in the accounting team for a construction company. I am also studying my CPA journey.
Today we're going to talk about financial literacy and just finances in general. We currently live in a interesting economic period, or times right now. Les finances peuvent être un peu chaud pour certains, et je vais pas vous mentir, pour moi aussi des fois. Donc, on va juste en parler, en discuter un peu. We'll make a game out of it a little bit, and
Yes.
I'll explain the game to everybody so everybody sees. So the game that we're playing today is truth and myths. So we're going to read out a couple of statements, and we are either going to agree or disagree.
Mm-hmm.
And with those statements, we can we're going to have these coins, or going to use these coins or dominoes that we're using are going to serve as our currency. So if we firmly believe that one of the statements is true, we can put down some coins and explain why we think the statement is true, or explain why the statement is wrong. And the judges will tell us which one of us is right or wrong. So you're behind the camera, but they're judging. So you guys will see. So yeah, if that makes sense to you.
It does.
All good? Okay, parfait. Expenses decrease in retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a myth or is that true?
Tell us more.
Mm-hmm. I will say that it is true. And I'm going to put down one coin. I'm going to be a little conservative with my funds today. I'm going to put down one coin to, I believe that it's true. That you find that your expenses decrease in retirement.
What if you decide to travel and do some renovation in your house?
That is a good point. I believe that if at that point let's say you had purchased the house 25 years ago for some mortgages rates, right? About 25 years. Let's say that you own your property and that you own your vehicles outright and whatever other assets or general expenses, recurring expenses that you have monthly, then I feel that you still may be saving more in the long run, and that money you would have that you're spending, let's say, to travel and to pursue other interests would be significantly lower than paying for a mortgage, car payments, all that extra stuff that people usually pay on a regular basis.
So basically, in order for the expenses to decrease, when you retire, you should start investing early, saving early, so you can be, let's say, really well when you retired.
Yeah, I would think so. But that's true. I think like if they have also in the investment routes, they receive dividends or they receive any type of when they're investing in the stocks, or if it's ETFs or whatever it is, invest in some that actually give you dividends. I learned that recently. But with that, I think the expenses should decrease theoretically if I'm thinking about it correctly. But you may have more knowledge about this than I do.
No. I truly believe the same thing.
Yeah.
Unless you start traveling, because some people, they wait when they get older to see the world, or you have some renovation, or your mortgage is not already paid off. Basically, it should decrease about 20, roughly 30% in general, unless you have some big expenses.
Yeah. Okay. So you hear that, guys? When you get old, your expenses should decrease theoretically if you manage your finances right. So okay, I guess we'll leave that as a tie. Leave that as a tie. Okay, you go ahead.
Buying is better than renting. That's a tough one, because depending of who you're talking to, they might have different opinions. So I'm going to say that buying is better than renting on the long term, but not short term. Because when you're buying a property, it's not just the down payment, it's not just 5% or 10%, but it's also the closing cost. And when you finally get your property, you're gonna pay for maintenance, renovation for some people, you're gonna pay the property tax, and let's not forget the big one, the actual mortgage. And right now with the interest, it could go from I think about 5%, 550 and more, also depending on your credit score. So you should keep in mind that buying is not just having a home, it's also a lot of responsibilities. And you should get ready for that. You should save for that. You should not just think about the pride that comes with it, but also all the money you're gonna spend. Versus when you're renting, it's basically just the rent you're paying and maybe home insurance, but it's pretty much that. And I also feel like a lot of people, when they are buying, they take in account the cost, but it's mostly because it comes with some pride. You're proud to be a homeowner. It's like a big milestone for you, but it's not just that. Before getting into that, you should fully get prepared, financially get prepared for that.
Some very good advice, and I think that all should follow. I think a lot of us get surprised. From what I've heard, I've had a few friends who've gotten homes and you don't have a landlord anymore. So if your fridge is broken, that's on you. If you want a new AC, that's on you. If you want to, I don't know, if something happens with the plumbing, that's on you. I currently rent. I'm just doing it in Montreal, and it's nice when I do have an issue. Like, I won't touch anything. I'll be like, hey, your fridge isn't working.
Of course.
But quand ça arrive à acheter, maintenant t'as toutes les factures qui sont rajoutées dessus. Par exemple, les taxes de propriété, ça aussi, ça m'a surpris un peu quand on m'a dit à propos de ça, parce que t'as acheté ton logement. Et là, tout à coup, on dit, OK, voici $5,000 ajoutés dessus annuellement pour payer pour,
tu payes pour la décision que tu as prise. Ouais.
Exact. Donc, c'est tellement vrai de ce que tu as mentionné que on est vraiment attiré par le fait que on a acheté quelque chose c'est un milestone. You bought your own property, right? And that sense of pride that comes with it.
Yes.
And I think, what would you recommend right now in this economy if people are looking to buy? Should they buy a townhome? Should they buy maybe looking into buying more investment properties, or what should be somebody's first step into looking to purchase?
The first step is actually take your time and ask yourself, am I doing that for me or for the community or for the people watching me? Because most of the time we feel pressured to do so, to buy a property, because let's say our friends, they are in their 30s, they all have a home and everything, and we feel like, yes, I should do the same. But are you ready to do so? Can you pay the property tax? Can you pay the mortgage without any trouble? And that's the first step, in my opinion, before even, maybe saving for the down payment. It should be, okay, am I doing that for me? Am I really interested in being a homeowner? And if it's not the case, maybe you should, rent for a moment, invest your money, and see maybe later if you are more interested about that.
Well, I'm going to tell you, just to add that, if you're not ready to leave or you're not ready for the bills, just stay home. There's no worry. Stay home with your parents, or stay with mom or dad. Food is for free. You go shopping. All that. You obviously, tu peux contribuer ici et là, but yeah, when I go home, you see me shopping, as if it's a grocery store, and it's free. So there is that too. But okay, let's give the crowd. Let's say it's me, for example. Let's say I want to have a 5-year plan to purchase a house. What should be my first course of action? Should I be looking to save a certain amount? If I want to save a certain amount, how much should I be saving?
Oh, yeah, you should definitely save. And right now, there is the first home saving accounts. You should open one of them.
Okay.
And definitely saving. That's a must. You cannot just go and buy house. I don't know your tax bracket. For sure I don't. Maybe you can do that, but I would recommend to save first. And not just the 5%, the minimum 5% or 10%, but make sure you have the closing costs. For example, the closing costs right now, I think it's 1.5% of the property. So make sure you have stuff like that also, and be ready. So yes, first save, open an account, and look around what you can afford. And also, while you're doing that, ask yourself, am I gonna stay in the same place for 3 to 5 years? If that's not your plan, maybe you should not buy a property right now.
You mentioned the first-time home buyer account. Can you tell us a little bit about that? If you have a first-time home account? So how does that work? Is it really... I've heard about it. So that you sort of... It is a savings account combined almost with like... It has the properties of a TFSA and of a RRSP a little bit. So do you know any more about it? Or is it... why would that be the preferred route for saving?
Like you said, it's really the same thing as the TFSA, so tax-free saving account. And right now it's 5%. So that's also a good thing. It's not just putting your money in some checking account, so you have the interest on it. And it's tax deductible. And it's a good way to start investing in your future, I would say.
That's good. So if you guys take anything out of this, go open a FHSA account, please and thank you, and start getting your savings on if you're planning on purchasing the property.
If you're interested.
If you're interested. Okay, we'll move on to the next statement. So, myth or truth? Credit cards are evil. I will put, yes, they are evil.
Oh, wow.
They are straight evil.
Tell me more. I want to know, why do you think so?
I think they are bad debts. 100%. Using your credit card can be good in certain circumstances. If you are wanting to do, groceries and you have a certain amount of transactions on your debit card, for sure use your credit card. But if you know you do not have the money to put back in there, just stay away from it. Because the moment that you're like, oh, okay, well, I'll just put it back when I get paid next time. And then it's like, oh, but I have this to pay. It's just fine. Like, I can pay it the next pay. And then it becomes a vicious cycle where you're spending, but you're not putting back in. So unless you're very disciplined with the fact of like putting back money into the card, then maybe stay away from it for the time being. But it does have its benefits. But I think long run, the amount of Canadians who are in credit card debt really just shows that maybe we don't all have that necessary discipline to have the cards, especially if you have a really high limit. I know some folks have upwards to like 20,000 in limit for credit card, and it can be very quickly. Money just comes. You're not thinking about it. You're just swiping your card, and you're like, oh, I'll pay for it later. And then later becomes 15,000. Yeah. What do you think?
I don't think it's evil. I really don't think so. I think it's all about how you manage having a credit card. Like you said, if you have, let's say, a limit of 15K, for sure you're not gonna use 13K on your credit card when you know that you cannot pay it. But if you know you can pay it, like you said, maybe not next week or in 2 days, but if you know you can pay it back, I think it's a good way to build your credit. And we all know that without credit, there is a lot of moves we cannot actually make in this country. So I would say learn how to manage your credit card, or to really use it and not having to pay a lot of interest of it, and how to build your credit using your credit card. And also there are some perks with some credit card. Can be for traveling, cashback, stuff like that. So I would say it's in the way you use it, but it's not evil per se.
I think it's from the devil, but
I'm biased. I would that.
Like anything else. Like anything else.
I would say, yeah, but no, you do make fair points that, like, for example, if you're a person that likes to travel, you can accumulate points and eventually get a free trip out of it. I'm not sure how many points you would need.
Yeah, so. I would like to go to France just like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I guess picking the right credit card is also
that's
a thing to do. But yeah, if you don't need it, or maybe just get like a very low limit.
Yeah, but like don't use 70% of it. Like use 30%. That's the max you can use. They said to really manage your credit card about 30%, 40%. Of the limit.
So if it was, for example, $1,000 credit card, $300 should be the max that you're using.
They say it's the best.
Yeah.
There should be like training of sorts. It, for me, like
a training, you say?
Yeah, on how to look at these things, because honestly, nobody's ever told me.
The training is financial literacy, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like the training.
Because literally for me, credit card is money I could take back later, and the 30% doesn't even like come to mind. I just am like available.
That's right.
No, I get it.
For a lot of us, like they gave me my first credit card at 18, and it's like they call you on your birthday, like, hey, you want to get a credit card?
You're like, yeah, free money, but it's not free.
Yeah.
I thought it was even wild. Like I was like almost emptying that, and then they asked me to like raise my income. I'm like, guys, you can tell I can't pay.
Like paying the minimum.
I don't get it. Like I don't know. I guess it's the management that you said.
Management,
that we need to do. It's just the system we don't
understand.
100%.
Yeah. They're throwing us in the deep end and not teaching us how to swim. So, yeah. So, take the advice that was given by Wadna. If you're going to get a credit card, just, be careful and get the ones that will make sense for you in your everyday purchases. And pay it back, please.
Pay it back. You should. It's not free money. Pay it back. High income makes you wealthy. Give me 1 second. I'm finding it. I think a lot of my answers are really about managing money. You could have high income but not be wealthy because you don't know how to manage your money. And I know it's gonna sound cliche, but it's all about the way you think. The fact that you have money, you receive a lot of money, let's say, but if you're not investing it, you're not saving it, you're just spending, that doesn't make you wealthy. You have money, but you're not wealthy, because being wealthy is first being able to make your money grow. Make sure you are getting the best out of it. And that's how I see things.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. Like, I know in the legal field, there's a lot of people that get paid very well, but it doesn't necessarily mean, like you said, that they know how to manage their money. They couldn't, well, I guess you could say that there is this sort of fallacy that, like, once you get a lot more money, then you're like, oh, I'm going to be financially free all of a sudden. But, like, as your income increases, tu commences à te permettre un peu des différents trucs.
Yeah, treating yourself.
You got the on your shoulder telling you, hey, you can afford that car. Or like, hey, tu peux te permettre d'aller faire XY, va sur ce voyage, or etc. But like, if you're not saving it, if you're not paying your credit card correctly, if you don't have an FHSA, or you don't have a TFSA, these government's accounts that are available. I guess building wealth is more so, yes, it's the income, but it's how you're able to manage the finances and use that money wisely and putting it in investments and investment properties if that's your vibe, or maybe a side hustle or a business or something like that sort.
I think the side hustle, at this point, you should have it. In this economy, you should have it.
Yeah. So your high income is nice, but given now how the economy is set up, money doesn't go as far as it used to. So, essaye, va à $1 avec ton $5 et voir comment tu vas sortir avec. Just un, deux trucs. But, no, I would agree. I think, I agree with your perspective, so I'm gonna save my coins for now. I'm not gonna
but treat yourself. Also, treat yourself just a little bit, though. Not too much, just a little bit.
Okay. How often would you recommend somebody to treat themselves?
Every time. If possible, every time. Because that's a way to feel good, to be good, But in this economy, again, we cannot do it.
Yeah.
So, as much as you can.
Yeah. Okay. I guess also finding cheap ways to do it. Maybe.
Yeah, staying inside. That's a cheap way to do it.
That's true. Get yourself, I don't know, some snacks, a little bottle of wine.
Yeah.
That's what you're into.
Some $1 snack. So, stay inside.
Yeah. And, there's no, well, for me anyway, every time I go outside, I end up somewhere doing this. So, yeah, staying home and I've trained myself now to the shoot at home. So, when you're outside, treat yourself, but treat yourself in moderation.
Yes, moderation.
Next statement. All debt is bad debt. Okay. All debt, bad debt. I will say that I'm torn between this one, but I'm going to say all debt is bad debt, and I'm going to put 2 for this one. I'm going to say that all debt is bad debt because at the end of the day, they're all liabilities. You are spending. There's a statement that cash is king. So if you can buy it outright, do so. If you can buy it without having to, let's take a car for example. If you can buy it outright without having to finance it, then amazing. Then do it that way instead of having to finance a vehicle and you're paying it off with interest on top of it. So a $20,000 car can become $30,000 very quickly just off of the interest. So if you have that $20,000, and I was told recently, if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it. I don't know if that's possible now, but have some money left over. So you're not depleting completely your accounts, but if you have the money to buy it outright, just do so. I know houses right now are very expensive, so I would say if you can buy it outright, then yes, if you got it like that. But if not, I stand by the statement that I believe all debt is just bad debt. If you can have the ability to just not have any debt, then you're golden, in my opinion. I don't know. Au Canada, je sais pas. Yeah.
Since in Canada, we cannot really live without having some kind of debt. I wouldn't say all debts are bad debts. It depends on what kind of debt. Like student loans. I would love to go to Europe and not having to pay for anything and not having to take student loans or anything, but I cannot do it because I wasn't, let's say my parents, they were not really prepared for that. So I have to do it by myself. So I'm going to take a loan. It's not necessarily bad since it's going to be for a brighter future, I would say. And I'm investing in my future. So it's not really bad. And I think the same thing for when you buy a house. It's still debt, but in 25 years, for example, this house gonna, take some value. So it's not necessarily bad, but it's, let's say, what kind of debt exactly? Car loan, for example, it could be good or bad depending what kind of car you're buying and can you really afford it. If you have, let's say, a 70K income and you bought a brand new Lexus, for sure, we know. I know, you know, they know you cannot afford this car. So it could be a bad debt. But again, not all of them, in my opinion, are bad debts. It's just about what kind of debt.
But, ouais, non, c'est comprenable que, je pense que, comme tu l'as mentionné, on doit prendre l'initiative, le vouloir de le faire. And like, we all want to be wealthy and be able to, even if we didn't come from a rich family, have that rich family come from us.
Yeah.
But the first step is management, as Wadna has been saying this whole video. So.